This morning, you probably cracked an egg into a pan. You didn't think twice about it. White shell, yellow yolk. Breakfast. But here's a question you've never asked. Why that egg? Not a turkey egg, not an ostrich egg, not a snake egg, or a fish egg, or a lizard egg. Out of every egg-laying creature on Earth, you eat almost exclusively the eggs of one bird. And that bird isn't even special. Most people assume it's because chicken eggs just taste the best, or they're the safest, or nature somehow designed them for us. That's not quite right. The real reason is stranger, and a lot more accidental. It has to do with a wild jungle bird, a Roman banquet table, and a $40 egg you'd need a hammer to open. And by the end of this, you'll never look at your breakfast the same way again. Let's start with the obvious question. Are other animal eggs even edible? Yeah, almost all of them. Duck eggs, goose eggs, quail eggs, turkey eggs, ostrich eggs, even snake and lizard eggs. People eat all of them, somewhere in the world right now. So this was never really a biology problem. It's a history problem. And it starts almost 2,000 years ago at a Roman dinner party. Picture it. You're a guest in ancient Rome. The table in front of you is loaded with eggs. Duck eggs, goose eggs, partridge eggs, pheasant eggs, even peacock eggs, saved for the wealthiest host. Nobody at this table thinks that's strange. If an egg was easy to collect and safe to eat, it went on the menu. Coastal communities everywhere did the same thing, climbing cliffs for gull eggs, puffin eggs, tern eggs. For most of human history, eggs were whatever was nearby. So what changed? One bird got a head start. Somewhere in Southeast Asia, thousands of years ago, a wild jungle bird called the red junglefowl started hanging around human rice and millet fields. Not because we tamed it, because we accidentally fed it. Spilled grain. Insect drawn to the crops. An easy meal right next to people. Over generations, that bird got closer and closer until it wasn't wild anymore. That bird was the ancestor of every chicken you've ever seen. But here's what's fascinating. Wild junglefowl were terrible egg producers. Around 10 to 15 eggs a year, only during a short spring season. That's barely more than a turkey. So why did this particular bird end up owning your breakfast table? Because humans didn't stop at domestication. For centuries, farmers kept choosing the hens that laid the most and bred them together again and again. Slowly, 10 eggs a year became 50. 50 became 100. And by the 20th century, with modern genetics and nutrition, a single hen could lay close to 300 eggs a year. Almost one a day. No other bird on the planet does that. Not naturally, and not even with heavy breeding. That's the twist most people miss. Chickens didn't win because their eggs are better. They won because humans spent thousands of years engineering them into an egg-laying machine. But that's only half the story. Because plenty of other birds lay perfectly good eggs too. So why did they lose the competition? Take the turkey. Genuinely, people who've tried them say turkey eggs taste almost identical to chicken eggs, just bigger. So why isn't there a turkey egg carton next to the chicken eggs at your grocery store? Turkeys lay maybe 1 or 2 eggs a week. A chicken lays 1 a day. Do that math across a whole farm and it isn't close. And there's a second problem. Turkey eggshells are noticeably tougher to crack. Not impossible, just annoying. At industrial scale, millions of times a day. Multiply a small inconvenience by a few billion eggs and it becomes a real barrier. Now imagine the opposite extreme, the ostrich egg. One single ostrich egg is roughly equal to 24 chicken eggs. 1 egg, an entire omelet party in a single shell. Sounds efficient, right? Except the shell is so thick, you basically need a hammer to open it. And a single ostrich egg can cost around $40. $40 for one breakfast. So what killed the ostrich egg's chances at your kitchen table? Basic math and basic patience. Now flip to the other end of the size scale. Quail egg. Tiny, delicate, kind of elegant on a fancy appetizer plate. But tiny means labor. Someone has to collect, sort, and crack dozens of them just to make the volume of a few chicken eggs. More effort, less food, higher price. Not exactly a winning formula for a species trying to feed billions of people every single day. Now picture the people who didn't have that choice yet. Imagine you're standing on a cliff edge. Centuries ago, wind cutting into your face. Below you, thousands of seabirds nest on bare rock ledges. Your only way down is a rope tied to a stake and your own nerve. One wrong step and there's nobody to catch you. You climb anyway because those eggs are food and food doesn't come easy. You fill a bag with gull eggs and puffin eggs, one at a time, hands numb from the cold. That was egg collecting for most of human history. Dangerous, seasonal, unpredictable. Compare that to a modern chicken coop. Warm, enclosed, an egg delivered to the same spot every single morning. On schedule, like clockwork. Once you see that difference, the chicken's rise stops looking like luck. It starts looking inevitable. Now here's where it gets stranger. Reptile eggs complicate the picture even more. Some cultures have eaten turtle eggs and crocodile eggs for generations, buried on riverbanks and beaches, but reptile eggs come with a hidden danger most bird eggs don't carry the same way. Certain reptiles can host salmonella species that live comfortably inside their bodies without making the reptiles sick at all. The egg can carry that risk quietly, with no smell, no visible sign. Nothing to warn you. A chicken egg from a modern farm goes through inspection, temperature control, and washing standards built over a century. A wild turtle egg, dug out of warm sand, goes through none of it. So even where the taste and nutrition are similar, the trust isn't. And trust, it turns out, might matter more than taste ever never did. Then there's the smell test, the one nobody talks about. Some animal eggs simply don't smell or taste appealing to the average human palate, not because of any deep biology, but because we were never raised around them. A person who grew up eating balut finds it completely normal, even comforting. A person who's never seen it can feel their stomach turn just looking at the photo. That reaction isn't instinct, it's exposure. Swap the childhoods, and the reaction swap too. So notice the pattern forming here. It was never really about flavor or safety or nature choosing a favorite. It was about output, effort, and cost at massive scale. The chicken didn't win a taste. It won an efficiency contest that lasted thousands of years. But here's the part that might be the strangest of all. The boundary you think exists, the one that says these are food eggs and those are not, isn't even universal. It's cultural. In parts of Southeast Asia, people eat balut, a fertilized duck egg with a developing embryo inside, boiled and eaten straight from the shell. In Mexico, escamoles, the eggs of certain ants, are considered a delicacy, sometimes called insect caviar. Speaking of caviar, that's just fish eggs, salted, cured, and served on some of the most expensive tables on the planet. People even eat turtle egg, and in some regions, snake egg, once they know how to prepare them safely. So the real question was never which animal eggs are edible. Almost all of them are. The real question is which ones a particular culture decided generations ago were normal to put on a plate. And once a culture decides that, it becomes invisible. You stop noticing it's a choice at all. It just becomes what eggs are. There's one more piece of this, and it's a little uncomfortable. Every animal egg carries some risk. Bacteria like salmonella don't just live in chicken eggs. They can turn up in duck eggs, in reptile eggs, in almost anything with a shell and a yolk. The chicken egg supply chain simply built an entire system around managing that risk at scale because it had to. Other eggs never got that infrastructure, mostly because there was never enough demand to justify building it. So it's a loop. Chickens got popular because they were efficient. Because they were popular, we built massive safety systems around them. Because those systems exist, chicken eggs feel safer than anything else. And that feeling of safety keeps you reaching for the same carton every single week without ever asking why. There's one last twist, and it might be the biggest one. You'd think, with almost 8 billion people on Earth, that we'd want more egg sources, not fewer. More options should mean more food security. If one bird ever got wiped out by disease, we'd have backups. But that's not what happened. Instead, the entire planet leaned harder into a single bird, a single supply chain, a single system. Billions of chickens, genetically narrower than you'd expect, all descended from the same efficient bloodline. It's efficient until it isn't. A disease outbreak in one part of that system can ripple through the entire global egg supply within weeks. Prices spike, shelves empty, and suddenly, the eggs you never think about become the thing everyone's talking about. That's happened before, and it will happen again. Meanwhile, the turkey, the duck, the quail, the ostrich, all of them sitting quietly on the sidelines, still capable, still edible, still nutritious, just never given the centuries of investment the chicken got. So zoom out for a sec. Think about how much of your life runs on choices like this. Not decisions you personally make. Decisions made by people centuries ago about grain fields and breeding programs and shell thick that quietly turned into normal by the time you were born. You didn't choose chicken egg. History chose them for you. One small efficiency at a time, generation after generation. And that's true of more of your daily habits than you'd probably like to admit. The foods on your plate, the animals you consider normal to eat, and the ones that feel strange to even imagine. None of it was inevitable. It was accidental, then practical, then invisible. So next time you crack an egg into a pan, take 1 second before you do. Somewhere out there, a turkey laid an egg this week that tasted just as good. Nobody bought it. Nobody even saw it. Not because it wasn't good enough, because thousands of years ago, one bird in a rice field got a head start and never gave it back.